Welcome back to the Big D Podcast. This is episode number 90. Today we're going to talk about the decision that changed my life. Every great life is built one decision at a time. Your future isn't determined by one giant moment. It's determined by the decisions that you make when nobody's watching.
Yo, Big D in the house, baby. Relentless execution, you already know. This is for the dream chasers, the grinders, the doers. Let's get it. Relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game. From the ground up, now they all know the name. Big D.
So welcome back to the Big D Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sikowski. Today we're talking about something that every successful person has in common, but almost nobody talks about. Decisions that changed their life. People always ask me, Dan, what changed everything for you? Was it the business, one mentor, one investment, one opportunity, one speech, one lucky break? And my answer is always the same. No, it wasn't one thing. It was a lifetime of decisions up until this point. Some were incredible. Some almost destroyed me. Some made me money. Some cost me money. Some strengthened my faith. Some tested my faith. Some built relationships. Many ended relationships. Some gave me peace and some gave me pain. Because every single decision shaped the man I am today. That's what I want to talk to you about. Not because my story is special, but because your story is still being written. One decision after one decision. And after listening to this episode, you could quietly change the next 10 years of your life based on the decisions you're going to make. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you to the Big D Podcast. This podcast is built for entrepreneurs, leaders, anyone committed to becoming a better person, a better version of themselves. Here we talk about business, faith, relationship, family, legacy, and execution, because success is not just about making more money. It's about becoming someone who's worthy of the life that they're asking God for. So we stand on three principles: wealth, freedom, and relentless execution. Before we get into it, I want to throw a thank you to the sponsors. We have a number of sponsors. You will see some short clips throughout this episode on some of those sponsors. But first, Wabam, getwabam.com. Go check them out. Use code BIGD10. Detailing products for your boat, RV, cars, whatever it is that you have. Amazing products, tested. I'm incredibly honored to be partnered up with these guys, have some of our stuff sponsoring some of their booths. Incredible guys. So getwabam.com, use code BIGD10. Never Broken is a clothing brand for the blue collar guy who refuses to be broken. Go check them out, neverbrokenco.com. Go see the merch that they have. They've got about 5 new items that have already been released. Proud Father. ProudFatherApparel.com. Use code BIGD15. This is for the dad who goes out there and strives, does his work, works hard, but comes back for the reason why he goes out, for his family, to his family. Jobber is a CRM that's used for small businesses, service-based businesses. You'll see more about them later. Also, Smart Credit. Smart Credit is one of our partners. You'll see more about them as well. And Ability Tree. Ability Tree is our foundation of choice. They're doing incredible work supporting families who are raising children with disabilities. I appreciate every single one of you guys here. And for Ability Tree, go check them out, help them out, donate. We're going to be donating some time at their camp. We just raised some money for them at an event last week. So go check out abilitytree.org. Now let's get into it. The one question I'd really like to ask you. Imagine you and I are sitting across from each other. No cameras, no microphones, no audience, just two entrepreneurs talking about life. I wouldn't ask you how much money you make. I wouldn't ask you how many employees you have. I'd ask you one question. What decisions are you avoiding right now? Because I've learned something after coaching entrepreneurs from every single industry imaginable. The biggest breakthroughs in their life always are on the other side of the uncomfortable decisions that they have to make. So many people think like one of the biggest lies that they've been told over time is like this overnight success. Like overnight success, and success happens overnight, which it doesn't. Social media makes it look like, one deal changed someone's life. One investment created the biggest opportunity they ever had. One podcast, one speech, one viral video. But that's almost never how life works. When I look back over my life, I don't see giant moments. I see small decisions. getting up when I didn't feel like it, making one more sales call, apologizing, when pride didn't want me to, keep going, even when I was knocked down, but I wasn't knocked out, trusting God when nothing made sense. Nobody applauds those decisions. Nobody talks or posts about those decisions, but those are decisions that quietly build extraordinary lives. The future's being built today based on those things, whether you realize it or not. So if I followed you around, I want to think about your habits for a minute. If I followed you around for the next 7 days, literally shadowed you, I think I could predict where your life is going based on those 7 days. Not because I can see your future, but because your habits are going to reveal your direction. Your calendar, your conversations, your spending, your health, your priorities, your discipline, your standards, every single one of them is going to tell me your story. We don't come into a life or become part of a life that we hope for. We become what we repeatedly choose to do. So when you look at, let's say, financial freedom, many people say they want it, but they spend money with no intention. People want stronger relationships. People say they want it, but then they give their significant other the energy that's left in their day. People want better relationships with God. They say they want it, but they never create or put time aside to spend with Him. People want business freedom, but instead they spend every day reacting instead of leading. One of the greatest decisions I ever made was not a business decision. It was deciding to bet on myself. Betting on yourself doesn't mean believing you'll never fail. Understand that. It means believing that you're capable of getting back up even after you do fall down. I've failed. I've made expensive mistakes. I've trusted the wrong people. I've lost money. I've had seasons where I questioned everything. But I never stopped believing that with enough faith, enough work, enough humility, enough perseverance, I could build something better than where I was. That was betting on myself, and that's what betting on yourself really means. It's waking up every single day saying, I may not have all the answers, but I'm willing to become the person who finds them. That decision and that one thing has changed my life over and over again. Another thing is I refuse to quit. Not because quitting wasn't tempting. It was. There were days where I wanted to walk away. I questioned everything. I wondered, if rebuilding was even worth it. People ask me all the time, Dan, how do you keep going? After all the setbacks, after the betrayal, the business challenges, after your heart attack, after everything. And the answer isn't that I'm stronger than anybody else. The answer is much simpler. I made one decision. And that decision was I will never quit. My kids deserve better than that. Every successful person eventually reaches a moment where quitting feels reasonable. The difference is they keep moving anyway because they've opted out of quitting. Courage is not the absence of fear. Understand that. Courage is making the decision that your future matters more than your current state of fear. I want to challenge you to do something, okay? You've probably said something before. I'll do it when, right? I'll hire when. I'll start when. I'll invest when. I'll get healthy when. I'll spend time with the family when. And can I tell you what I've learned? When is the most dangerous word in English language because when keeps moving. When I make another 100,000, when business slows down, when kids get older, when life settles down, guess what? Life rarely settles down. People who build extraordinary lives don't wait for perfect timing. They don't let when be a part of their day. They decide and they adjust. Action creates clarity, but waiting creates excuses. Now, understand, decisions play a major factor in what we do. One decision can change everything. One phone call, one conversation can open a door that you never expected. One apology, the moment that humility can restore years of silence that was destroyed because of nothing. One investment, one commitment to your future can compound your future for decades. One prayer, one moment of surrender can shift everything that you've been carrying alone. You don't need 50 decisions today. You need one, the right one, the one that you've been avoiding. Because chances are the decision you've been avoiding is attached to the life that you've been praying for. So before we move on, I want to leave you with one question. Don't answer it. I just want you to think about it. If your life looked different 3 years from now, what decision would have started that transformation? Because I don't think your future is waiting for another motivational video, another book. I don't think it's waiting for another seminar. I don't think it's waiting for you to feel motivated again. I think your future is waiting on a courageous decision that you just haven't made yet. And the next part of this episode, we're going to talk about decisions that cost me the most, the lessons that taught me how to be the way I am and have completely changed the way I lead my family, my business, my clients, and everything I do in my life. So understand something. As we shift here, I want you to just start thinking. If at this point you're like, hey man, he's talking to me, how does he know? Because we all face the same stuff. We all go through the same stuff. We just have different seasons. I want to shift gears because I don't want this episode to sound like every decision was made when the right one wasn't. Some of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned in my life come from the decisions that cost me money. Relationships, peace, looking back. I don't regret these things. I don't regret the failures as much as I regret ignoring the warning signs, right? I ignored red flags because I wanted to believe in those people the most. Quick interruption to the show. Want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors.
Hey guys, I'm over here with Joe from Wabam. Wabam is one of the sponsors of the Big D podcast. We are literally so excited to be partnered with them. These guys literally have products here that you see that have stood the test of time. I'm a guy who's totally fanatic about my vehicles, and I've tried every single product on the market, and I've never seen anything do what these guys' products are doing. So we're excited to be promoting these guys, partnering with these guys. Joe, tell us a little bit about your product.
Yeah, we're a family-owned company out of Wisconsin. We met you guys last year here, and we take a lot of pride in all the products. We cover the washing, the interior and the exterior detailing. We got ceramic sprays and all that. And, building relationships like this is what we love doing.
So, guys, make sure you check out getwabam.com. Use code BIGD10 to get yourself a discount.
Want to give a huge thank you to one of our sponsors for the Big D podcast, Proud Father Apparel. We got a nice new hoodie here. Check it out. Promises kept, Proud Father. Highest honor, Proud Father. We're incredibly grateful for the partnership with these guys. Go check out proudfatherapparel.com. Use code BIGD15. Get yourself some gear. Use the discount and support these guys, especially if you're a proud father. Hey guys, quick interruption to the show. We have Joe and Micah here from Ability Tree. Joe, why don't you share with us what you do at Ability Tree?
Hey, yeah, thank you, Dan. So we come alongside families impacted by disability by providing rest, recreation, education, support, and training, basically bringing families impacted by disability out of isolation into community.
Awesome. Hey guys, after this video, you're going to see a link in the caption. Make sure you check out Ability Tree and check out his mission here with Micah. Awesome. You're not stuck because of leads. There's something in your business right now that you're not seeing, and it's costing you every single week. Most business owners never figure this out. That's exactly why we break that down at the 7-Figure Blueprint Live Intensive. And if you want to see what's actually holding you back, click the link below and lock your seat in.
Relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game from the ground up. Now they all know the name, Big D, Big D.
Quick interruption to the show. If you run a home service business, let me ask you a question. Are you constantly putting out fires? Are you dealing with scheduling issues, missed follow-ups in your business, customers that are slipping through the cracks, you've got team members that are waiting on answers, and somehow everything still ends up landing back on your plate? I've been there. When I built my construction companies in the past from the ground up, one of the biggest lessons I learned was this. Most business problems are not people problems. They're system problems. Because if everything runs through you, you don't own a business. You actually have a job. This is exactly why I recommend Jobber. Jobber helps home service business manage quoting, manage scheduling, invoicing, payments, customer communication, team accountability, all in one place. Instead of everything living in your head, your team knows exactly what needs to happen next. Your customers get a better experience, and your business finally has structure it needs to grow. If you're serious about scaling your home service business, check out Jobber using my link. Go to go.getjobber.com/Big D. That's go.getjobber.com/Big D. You work hard to grow your business. You're focusing on sales, you're focusing on your revenue, you're focusing on your operation, and you're even focusing on your profit. But when it comes time to apply for financing, lenders look at more than just your business performance. They actually look at your credit profile too. And what many business owners don't realize is that personal credit can impact your ability to qualify for business financing, equipment financing, vehicle loans, and even commercial leases. And if your score is below a 680, you can end up paying significantly more over the life of the loan if you're fortunate enough to qualify for it in the first place. That's why I've partnered up with Smart Credit. I've personally used the platform, and one of my favorite features is their score booster. It tells me exactly what to pay on my cards, exactly how much and when to pay it to maximize the points that I can gain as quickly as possible. In fact, many users see meaningful score improvements in less than a month. Another feature I like is that if negative items are impacting your score, Smart Credit can help generate letters directly to creditors, helping them take action instead of guessing what to do next. Right now, you can try Smart Credit for just $1 for 7 days and see how many points you have available to gain as of right now. Go to smartcredit.com/Big Dan Official. Again, that's smartcredit.com/Big Dan Official. Now let's get back to the episode. I delayed difficult conversations because I thought things were going to work themselves out, or avoiding it was better. I kept people around longer than I should have because I got confused with loyalty and leadership. And that's a big hole that you could fall into when you put loyalty to the wrong things in front of leadership for all the right things. Life will always send you whispers before it sends you consequences. Remember that. Okay, most of us just don't listen to those whispers. If you ignore a small problem, it eventually will become a big one. If you ignore your health, your body's going to force you to pay attention. I had a heart attack. If you ignore your marriage, distance grows. When I was married, I ignored it. I played the victim, and you know what? It ended. If you ignore your systems, chaos then becomes your culture. People ask me all the time, what's the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make? They expect me to say bad hiring, poor marketing, cash flow, whatever it is. But I think the biggest mistake is indecision. Thinking about raising your prices for 2 years, business owners delay the obvious while their revenue continues to suffer. Avoiding, firing someone for 6 months. Everyone says the team already knows it needs to happen, but it's just not happening. Waiting until health completely collapses, and then deciding finally to take care of yourself, and you're in a worse position. Waiting feels safe, but it delays, discomfort. But here's the truth. Every day you delay the right decision, you're making another decision that you're deciding to stay the same place and in the same position that you are right now. So stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what is it costing me if I never try or if I never change? One moment that changed everything for me wasn't a business deal. It wasn't selling a company. It wasn't a financial milestone. It wasn't having kids. It was my heart attack. When you face something that reminds you that life is not guaranteed, your priorities become crystal clear. You stop worrying about things that don't even matter because we spend so much time doing that. You stop chasing approval. You stop believing that you have forever to get something done. Before that season, I thought success was measured by production. How much could I build? How much could I accomplish? How much could I earn? I no longer believe that success is worth sacrificing the people that you're building it for. So my success redefined today is peace, presence, health, faith, time with my family, and a business that supports my life but doesn't consume it. I still believe in working hard and I still believe in building wealth, but that decision alone changed the way I looked at it as a whole. And that might surprise some people. One of the hardest decisions I ever had to make wasn't a business decision. It wasn't choosing forgiveness, not because people deserved it. It's because I deserve freedom. So I didn't choose forgiveness in a way. I just chose to forgive the people or the things because I knew I had to let me go. So I was like, I'm just going to forgive. No, I had to really want to forgive. So I had to choose to forgive. I didn't choose forgiveness because if you choose forgiveness but you're really not forgiving, there's no purpose. A lot of people want to forgive people because they want that person to say sorry. You can't forgive people for the wrong reasons. You've got to forgive people for yourself. Bitterness is exhausting and it keeps you tied to yesterday. Resentment is going to convince you that someone else still controls your future. But forgiveness and forgiving, okay, because forgiveness is for you, as long as you forgive. Okay, because some people go, oh, I want forgiveness, but I'm not going to forgive them unless they forgive me. Like, that shit doesn't work. Forgiving someone is refusing to let the past define the rest of your life. Forgiveness doesn't mean that what happened was okay. It means that you're refusing to let it sit on you and weigh on you anymore. I've had people disappoint me, betray me, walk away, say things that weren't true. I've also, made mistakes that required me to ask others for forgiveness. So I needed to forgive and I needed them to forgive me, right? But that's life. None of us get through this life perfectly. The moment you stop caring, okay, and carrying about all the offenses going on in your life and all things going on in life is the room and the growth that starts being created for the growth that you need, right? So forgiveness isn't weakness. It's a strong decision and probably one of the strongest decisions that any leader can make. We live in a world where we're overflowing with information. Podcasts, books, videos, courses, seminars. You can learn anything with just a few clicks. So another reason why so many people stay stuck is because information isn't the problem. I always say information means nothing without implementation. So implementation is the problem. I've coached people who, knew exactly what to do literally on our first coaching session. They just weren't doing it. Knowledge without action changes nothing, right? I would rather see someone consistently execute on one great principle that collects maybe some kind of growth than collect 100 ideas that never do anything. The question isn't what else do I need to learn? The question is what do I already know that I'm refusing to do? So that answer is usually where the breakthrough is going to lie or live in your business and in your life. Also, one decision that shapes your future is deciding, who gets a voice in your life, because I think we don't understand until it's too late for a lot of people that not everyone deserves influence in your life. You want people who speak from experience. The voice is encouraging growth, challenging you towards a life that you're trying to build. Only. You don't want people who speak from fear, which is a lot of people in our life. These voices, they protect comfort and answer, from their life that they accepted, right? Not the life that you're trying to build because they simply don't understand it. If someone has never built a business, be careful letting them define your business decisions or even asking them a question about your business. If someone has never led a team, be careful asking them about leadership. Seek wisdom, not popularity, right? Seek truth, not comfort. Because the voices that you listen to today become the beliefs that you live in tomorrow. For years, I looked at investing, myself as like, if I have to invest in me and do things for me and buy things for me, That's expensive. I mean, I'd rather do it for other people. I'd rather put the money elsewhere or buy other stuff. Why do I want to invest in me? And I thought it was an expensive thing. This was when I was younger, like 20 plus years ago. And then I realized something, that the greatest return I would ever receive didn't come from stocks. It didn't come from every, real estate deal. It didn't come from a business. It came from becoming a better leader and evaluating myself and realizing that I needed to become more, to be more, to have more, to do more, right? Every book, every coach, every mastermind, every conversation, every lesson, every mistake, it all shapes the person that's capable of building something bigger. If you invest money, and you invest in yourself, income's going to follow because you become more valuable. Your income will eventually follow the growth that you're starting to present. You're going to start having better relationships. And when you invest in yourself, the quality of people and the proximity of people start to grow. So better version of you creates better versions of relationships that you need to get to that ideal place. If you invest in yourself, you start meeting other people who are like-minded, your confidence starts growing. Every investment is going to compound into self-belief because you're going to see other people who are just like you who are doing the thing. And every time that you invest in yourself, your leadership is going to expand. Your leadership is going to attract what you need to attract and become what you're destined to be. The greatest investment you're ever going to make, I tell people this all the time, is the person who's staring in the mirror. That's the greatest investment you can ever make. That's the best return you're going to get. The myth is people think that one decision changes your life, but you have to have action attached to it. It doesn't, but one decision can change your life, but only if you keep making it. Like going to the gym is not going to change your life, but going to the gym consistently is going to change your life and your health. Praying once isn't going to build your faith, but consistently praying is going to grow your faith, right? Leading well for 1 week doesn't create culture. Leading well and continuing to lead well and being better will create culture and rise everything in your leadership standards. One sales call is not going to build a company, but continuously making sales calls and building a sales force will build your company. Consistency is simply the decision that we have to keep making. Once we've made the decision, now we have to be consistent on that decision because it's going to bring us in the right direction and all the excitement's going to wear off. Everything's going to wear off, but the consistency is going to start tracking the results. That's where real transformation happens. Not in the moment, but in the reps. So when I look at what this looks like, I know that it takes 30, 60, 90 days. That's why all my coaching clients, I go, hey, we're going to build a 90-day game plan. We got to start working for the next 30, see what we have to do, adjust. Next 60, by 90 days, you're going to be a totally different person, and your business is going to see the effects of what you've done. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 30 days. That's just simply not enough time. As parents, we spend a lot of time, thinking about what we should say, but children learn way more from what we do. How you treat people. Your kids are watching, every interaction with strangers, employees, family, whoever it is. How you handle pressure, the way that you respond under stress, your leadership lessons that you carry for life. Your kids are learning this. How you speak to your significant other. Your kids are learning what love and respect look like from your example. Not maybe what it should be because you may be doing it wrong, but they're learning it based on how you're setting the standard and raising the bar. How you respond to setbacks. Learning your resilience, your grit, your defeat by watching how you handle these things. Your greatest lessons won't come from a speech to your kids. They're going to come from your examples. That's a responsibility that all of us as parents should never take lightly because it's super, super important for us to be the example by being the example, by doing the example, right? So if you listen this far, I want you to understand something. None of these decisions and none of these things I talked about happened because I felt ready in my life, or are you going to feel ready? Most of them happen because I got tired of staying the same, or they're changing in your life because you're tired of staying the same. Growth begins the moment that staying where we are becomes more painful than the change that we need to have. And that's where I want to leave before we finish this episode, because as I wrap this up, I want to talk about where one decision and where that decision ties everything together about the change, because the decision to become a different person has to lie in the decisions that you're going to make to become that better person. Once your identity changes, your decisions begin to change. And when your decisions start to change, everything starts to flow and follow thereafter. I want to ask a final question before I finish today's conversation. When you look in the mirror, who do you see becoming? Who do you see yourself becoming? Not who you were 5 years ago, not who everyone else thinks you are. Who are you becoming? Where do you see yourself going? Some become bitter, defined by what happened to them. So you're looking in the mirror and you feel like your life is just never going to catch up because of what happened. Some people become stronger because the decisions, that happened in their life, they're not going to allow them to define them. Some become victims. They're waiting for someone else to change their story because it's not their job. They don't want to take personal accountability. Someone else should. And some people become better leaders because they take ownership of every chapter in their life and every chapter ahead of their life. Every setback in your life asks you the same question. What kind of person are you going to become because of this? Your business will eventually reflect the leader you become. Your relationship will reflect the person you're becoming. Your children will learn from the example of the person you're becoming. Remember this. Everything in your life starts with you. So, confidence follows action. One of the biggest lies entrepreneurs believe is that confidence comes before action. It absolutely does not. Think about riding a bicycle. Were you confident before you got on it? No, you became confident because you kept getting back on after you were falling off. You become confident by making the sales calls, having the leadership meetings, having the hard conversations, surviving the failures in your life. Every successful entrepreneur you admire once stood exactly where you are in uncertainty. Nervous, questioning themselves, their life. The difference was not confidence for them. The difference was that they decided to move anyway because they didn't want to stay there. So stop waiting to feel ready. Ready is a myth. Growth begins when action replaces hesitation. I coach entrepreneurs every single week, every single day. And you know what surprises me? Most of them, want, hey, give me a strategy. They don't need a strategy. They need to finally execute on the things that they have in their life, and they know they need to change. You're no different. We're addicted to new ideas, the newest thing, the biggest, shiniest thing, the new book, the new podcast, the new software, the new marketing, the new systems, whatever. I am too. Listen, if there's a book out there someone recommends, I'll buy it. I've got books I haven't read. I've got 900 plus books I have read, but I probably got 100 something books that I haven't read just because it's a shiny object and it's new. But I got to finish what I started before I start looking at anything else. But I do get it. And we do the same thing in life, right? Sometimes the answer isn't something new. It's finally becoming disciplined enough to finish what you already started. Unfinished ideas in your notebook. How many things are in your notebook waiting for you to attack them? Goals that you restart every single January, but you just don't seem to get it. We're more than halfway through the year. How many times have you reset the same target? This year alone, how many times have you made the promise to yourself that you were going to change or things were going to change? The problem isn't information. The problem is commitment. Commitment means continuing after all those exciting times disappear, the resolutions disappear, all that stuff disappears. So one decision changed my leadership. I decided my word would matter the most. If I told myself I was getting up at 5, I got up. If I told myself I was committed to working out and changing my health, I worked out. If I promised myself I'd call someone, I'd call. Because people think discipline is about impressing others. It's not. Discipline is about proving to yourself that your word means something, and that something is everything. Every promise you break to yourself chips away at your confidence. Every promise you keep builds your self-respect. Eventually, your identity will change. You become the someone who follows through that identity, and that identity becomes priceless to you. So when I look back at every successful entrepreneur I've met in different industries over the years, different personalities, different backgrounds, they all had something in common. They all had decisions and made decisions quickly around their values, not emotionally, not impulsively, but clearly. They knew what mattered: faith, family, integrity, growth, clear values. When your values are clear, your decisions become easier. Spend less time saying, what should I do? Spend more time asking, what kind of person do I need to be for that? That answer usually makes the decision that you have to make very obvious. If you have confused values, you're more confused, and it makes your decisions extremely difficult. And oftentimes you never move the needle. So when I look at this, here's what I'll share with you. People ask me all the time, Dan, if you can go back 20 years, what would you do different? Honestly, I'd stop chasing more and start becoming more. What I do different is I would invest in leadership sooner. I would ask for help sooner. I spend more time with the people I love. I'd protect my health earlier. Stop believing that, busy meant I was successful. Have the hard conversations sooner. Stop trying to carry everything alone and do it by myself. Understand that peace is also success. And it's a key identifier. You can't go back, neither can I, but you can make a different decision today and right now. And that's the gift that we're all given, which is today. So your legacy is being written. It's something that you leave when you're gone. Legacy isn't something that you build when you're alive. It's something that you leave. You build it while you're alive, but it stands longer when you're gone. So it's not something that exists. It's something that you're building in the time that you're here that is going to be available at the time that you're gone for a long time, depending on how you build it. Your children are part of your legacy, right? And everything that you do, they're watching not perfection. They're watching consistency. They're watching, does my dad live the way he teaches? Your employers are watching. Leadership isn't built through speeches. It's built through repetitive decisions that earn trust over time. Your significant other, partner, whatever, is watching. Does he or she practice every day? And am I a chapter in that story? Your friends are watching. Stories tell people about your life and what's being written right now. One day, your stories are going to tell many, many people after you're gone about your life. And I want you to understand right now that this is the time to make sure that your stories are worth telling, that your stories are going to live on. So my weekly challenge to you is this. I don't want you to write down 10 goals. I want one. The one that you've been avoiding. Make it within the next 24 hours. Write this thing down. Maybe it's raising your prices, firing someone, hiring someone, asking for forgiveness from someone, and forgiving, right? Forgiving someone, taking care of your health, spending more time with your family, surrendering, your life to God, whatever it is. Stop waiting. Make the decision in the next 24 hours, because the life that you're praying for is often attached to the decision that you're postponing. So if you remember nothing else from today's episode, remember this. Your life is not changed by giant moments. It's changed by ordinary decisions that are repeated over and over again. The world celebrates overnight success, right? But it's not true. God develops people through daily obedience. Business grows through daily execution. Marriages grow through daily investment. Faith grows through daily surrender. Leadership grows through daily integrity. If you admire your life, then understand something. It's not going to be one day. If the life you admire isn't built now, understand that it's never going to be built in one extraordinary day. It's going to be built moving forward, one ordinary day at a time. Don't underestimate today's decision. It may be your breakthrough that you need for tomorrow. So I want to thank you for spending time with me today. I know your time is valuable. I never take it for granted. If this episode changed you, challenged you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another entrepreneur. Send it to someone who, is maybe at a crossroad. Someone who needs to hear that they're one decision away from everything. If you're serious about becoming a leader in your business and your family, and the business and person that your family truly deserves, go check out bigdcoaching.com. Learn more about working together with me. Your future isn't waiting for a miracle. It's waiting for a decision. Thank you to our partners again, Wabam, Never Broken, Proud Father, Jobber, Smart Credit, and Ability Tree. Your support to us is always helping these conversations get to more entrepreneurs around the world. So, guys, I'm Dan Sikowski. This is the Big D Podcast, Wealth, Freedom, and Relentless Execution. I'll see you next time.
Yo, Big D in the house, baby. Relentless execution, you already know. This is for the dream chasers, the grinders, the doers. Let's get it. Relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game. From the ground up, now they all know the name. Big D. Started from the bottom, had a vision so clear. Building empires from the sweat and the tears. Serial entrepreneur, that's the brand I wear. In the game for the long haul, I'm always prepared. From the business to the podcast, always making moves. Every step calculated, never losing the groove. Study the greats, now I'm making my own rules. Success in my blood, ain't no way I'll lose. I got systems, got strategies, laid out the plan. Built a dynamic lifestyle, that's the Big D brand. Raised a family on vision, now I take a stand. Roadmap to success, it's in the palm of my hand. We're relentless execution, we don't ever stop. Climbing to the top, we rise like a rocket. Big D's the name, yeah, I'm running the game. From the ground up.